Hello everyone and welcome to this week's SMB. I have three pairs that I want to share with you, so let's start. Let's start with the first one. It's AAD CAT, and let's start off from the monthly. What can I see? That we are trading between these two strong zones, and the last touch zone is a selling zone. The last time we touched the zone, we went all the way over there, but the difference between the last time and this time is that we are finding support on this zone right here. And the nice thing that I can see is that we did it in the past. We made a push to this zone, we made a retrace, and we went all the way up to here. So that's a nice thing to see, that the history already did it once, and most of the time it will repeat itself. So, and also what I can see is that we made an inverse, or we're making an inverse head and shoulder and a bullish M. So a pattern within a pattern, it's not the most important thing on a monthly, but it's a clear indication. Also, if I draw my fib from the new high to the last low, we can make a monthly TP or monthly fib completion, and it's aligning with the last highs in the history. So that's a nice thing for me to see. With this in mind, I can go to the weekly. I'm aware that we broke this low, but the monthly chart is for me more important. So, and also this zone is very strong. So the trend for me is still bullish. And also we have a confirmation, weekly confirmation bullish candle from this zone. And we do have a trend line holding up the price. So that are all very good things to see on the weekly. And with that in mind, I could go to the daily and look for bullish patterns. What I can see on the daily is that we have a inverse at the shoulder right here, or a possible inverse at the shoulder and a possible bullish M. So two confirmation patterns. And also we have the zone. And if I mark out the 6180, zoom out a little bit, I can see that there was strong bullish momentum in the past, but also some resistance. So that's a clear strong zone. The second thing I can see is that if we are placing the horizontal line on the shoulder one region, that this is also a strong zone with a lot of support right here, right here, right here, also resistance and resistance right here. So that means we have two zones, and in my plan, I can't take a decel on the first zone and only on the second zone. So that is something that I have to keep in mind. Then if I go to the 4 hour, the only thing we can see here is that we can make a fib completion. For me, this is an indication, it's not a confirmation. And the first minus 27 is aligning with this institutional candle, and the first zone. Zone is a little bit lower, but okay. And the second is the minus 68 or 68. And that one is aligning with the second zone. So two zones, and I have to keep in mind that there are two zones and not play any decel on the first. So this was my first prime pair. Then the second is Euro Swiss franc. As always, we start off from the monthly. What I can see is that we are on all-time lows, and we came from this supply and demand zone, but we don't have a lot of price action in the history. But what I can see is that we made some form of a inverse head and shoulder right here, but the bulls are clearly not strong enough to push up. We did it 2 times. If we zoom in a little bit, we did it right here. So I can place this here, but also here. But the bulls didn't manage to come any further than here twice already. Also, what I can see on the monthly is that the market structure is clearly bearish in the form of an impulse correction, possible impulse. So for me, it's kind of nice to see all these things that the bulls are not that strong. So I go to the weekly, and what can I see on the weekly? Bulls try to push right here, but didn't manage. And what can I see now is that we are clearly forming a bearish W. And we found resistance on this zone multiple times. And we do have the trend line with us. So with that in mind, I can still look for bearish patterns. One thing I did forget is that if we draw the fib from the last low to the last high, so this is all relief for more downside momentum, we can see and make a possible monthly TP. So I know that a lot of you guys and girls don't trade on a monthly buying zone, but for me, there is enough reason to look bearish this moment, because there are no strong signs of the bulls. Now, what can I see on the daily? A clear bearish W with leg 1, 2, 3, and possible 4 and 5. Also on this pair, a little bit the same as the other one, we do have two zones. The first zone is on leg 1 and 2, because if leg 1 and 2 are between the 6180 and the 100, I will always place my zone over there. Because this is a buying zone, there are not a lot of selling touches, resistance, sorry, only here, but there are a lot of buying touches. So there's liquidity on this zone, but if I go to the 4-hour, I can see that there is a nice institutional candle aligning with the first zone. So that's a possibility. And we did make a momentum retest, so we can make a structural retest. But the second thing, what I can see is that there is also a institutional candle right here. And if I go back to the daily and place my horizontal line on this structure, I can see that there are a lot of touches as well from here, but also here and here, a lot of buying wicks. So there is a possibility that the price will go to there. So there's the second zone. And then if, as I mentioned before, then I can't trade the zone on the first one. So that's something that I have to keep in mind. Also, what I can see right now is that price can make a fib completion on the first zone, but it's clearly an indication for me. So yeah, it's a sign, but not a confirmation. So I have to wait and see how the price reacts on my zones. So that was the second one. Lastly, the third one, it's USD GPY. And what can I see? That we are trading between these two zones. And the last touch zone is the selling zone, but the nice thing is that we found support on this weekly supply and demand zone. And the nice thing, what I can see over here, we pushed all the way to this zone, then we retraced to this zone and then pushed up all the way over there. So in the history, we managed to close above this zone. So therefore I will look for bullish setups on this pair. So that's a very nice thing for me to see. Also, what I can see is that the current candle is bullish, but it's not confirmed yet because the month is still running. Then, what can I see on the weekly? Oh, one moment. On the weekly, I can see that we are clearly bullish because we broke this last low high. impulsively. So everything between this high and this low can and will be treated as relief. Then what can I see also is that we do have a pattern in the form of an inverse head and shoulder with shoulder 1, head, shoulder 2. And I'm aware that we can make a big bearish W, but we found some support here, so that's why I prefer the bullish setup right now instead of the bearish setup. Also, this zone is confirmed with a lot of with 3 weekly bullish candles. And the last thing is that we do have a trend line holding up the price, so that's also nice to see. We do have a trend line also over here, but we didn't go till there yet. So with this in mind, I can go to the daily and look for bullish patterns. Oh yeah, one last thing. The last candle close is not very bullish, but we are in a retrace. So for me, it's okay because we also have a pattern and we have some clear indications on the higher time frames. So if I go to the daily, on the daily, I can see a clear bullish end pattern or possible bullish end pattern. We did make a low here and a high here, but it's not a strong high. So for me, it's not a new high. So everything between this low and last high can and will be treated as relief. And also with the higher time frames in mind. Then the zone, the leg 1 and 2 are not between the 6180 and the 100. So I will place my horizontal line, zoom out. And what I can see then is that the first support is over here. I will always look for the first support to the left. But the nice thing is that if we look any further in the history, we also have a very strong zone here with a very strong push to the upside. So that's a nice thing to see as well. So the zone is determined. Then I can go to the 4-hour. If I place my fib from the last low to the last lower high, we broke the 100 but came back. So I expect price to go down and make a fib completion around my zone and then go up. But I have to wait till the price hit my zone and look for a 4-hour confirmation. So these were my setups for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and I wish you all a very great week. Bye bye.